They won't tell you this. They'll sell you 10-step formulas and morning routines dressed in gold. They'll whisper sweet nothings to your self-doubt, convincing you that vision boards alone build empires. But behind every legend, behind every name carved into the stone walls of history, is a truth that bleeds, a truth that burns, a truth they don't want you to hear, because if you really heard it, you'd stop making excuses. You'd stop blaming your past. You'd stop waiting for perfect conditions, and you'd start becoming dangerous to the mediocrity that raised you. This is the truth about success. The kind that doesn't just change your bank account, but the kind that reprograms your blood. Success is not easy. It is not glamorous. And it is most definitely not for the faint-hearted. It is war. Not the kind fought with guns or fists, but a war within a war between who you were told to be and who you must become. Look back at history. Thomas Edison, who failed 10,000 times and smiled when asked about it. "I didn't fail," he said. "I just found 10,000 ways that won't work." That is not a quote. That is a declaration of identity. That is a man who married pain and progress, who did not just tolerate rejection, he made it his teacher. And what about Abraham Lincoln? A man who lost elections, failed in business, suffered the loss of children, endured depression, and still stood before a fractured nation and said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." He didn't say that from a podium of confidence. He said it from the pit of perseverance. The truth? Success does not belong to those who wish for it, but to those who are willing to be broken for it. You will be broken. That's not a threat, it's a promise. You will doubt. You will fall. You will be laughed at by those who gave up on themselves long ago, and you will want to quit. But that is the furnace. That is the sacred fire where dreams are forged or forgotten. So ask yourself, who are you willing to become to build the life you were born for? Let me tell you something no one ever says out loud. You do not find yourself. You build yourself, brick by brick, thought by thought, day by day. And every brick comes at a cost. Time you can't get back. Energy no one else will appreciate. Sacrifices that no one sees. But that's the price of greatness and visibility in the early stages. See, there is a season of the grind that feels like death. It's when the seeds are in the ground and the soil is still. There are no congratulations, no followers, no applause. And that's when most people walk away. Because they thought success was sexy. They thought it was supposed to feel good. They thought motivation would carry them through the drought. But it doesn't. Because success is not about feeling. It's about conviction. Conviction is what makes a man move when nothing is moving. Conviction is what drove Walt Disney after bankruptcy, betrayal, and rejection to still believe in a world that did not yet exist. He didn't see a theme park. He saw a kingdom. And kingdoms aren't built by emotions. They're built by vision and brutal commitment. Success doesn't respond to hope. It responds to hunger. To discipline so sharp it cuts through excuses like glass. To belief so strong it drowns out the noise of the world. Because the truth is, you don't need more motivation. You need to decide, right now, that the person you are today is not enough to carry the crown you seek. That you are willing to shed skin, to lose friends, to disappoint your past in order to fulfill your future. Yes, it hurts. Yes, it's lonely. But greatness always starts in solitude. The lion does not become king in a crowd. He becomes king when he learns to hunt alone. And so must you. You must wake up before your fears do. You must speak to your future louder than your doubts scream your failures. You must act when it's boring, when it's quiet, when nobody cares. You must bleed without showing the wound. And still you must keep going. Because success is not a moment. It is not a destination. It is a state of becoming. The poor man waits for opportunity. The rich man creates it. The mediocre man prays for clarity. The powerful man moves anyway. And the successful man? He is not the one with the best ideas. He is the one who executes them while everyone else is still thinking. Discipline. This is the gatekeeper. It is not the goal. It is the guardian of every goal you've ever had. Discipline is choosing what you want most over what you want now. It is silence over distraction. Focus over approval. Early mornings over wasted nights. It is the invisible fuel behind every empire. And those who master it are no longer slaves to emotion. They become architects of their own mind. Because let's be clear, your thoughts are not facts. Your feelings are not destiny. And your past? It's just data. You are not your trauma. You are not your upbringing. You are not your circumstances. You are the author. And every day you wake up, pen in hand, you either rewrite the story or you surrender it to someone else. They may have handed you broken pieces, poverty, pain, abandonment, ridicule, but you do not have to build your life with what they gave you. You can choose new tools. You can decide what stays and what burns. But you must stop waiting for permission. You must stop seeking validation from those who stopped believing long ago. They cannot see what you see because it was not given to them. It was given to you. That dream that won't die, that voice that won't shut up in your soul, that vision that visits you in the quiet, that's yours. And it's not random. It's a call to rise. And rising, truly rising, begins not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. In the shadows where no one claps for your efforts, where no one posts about your progress, where your name means nothing and your vision seems like madness. That is where kings and queens are born. That is where dynasties begin, not with applause, but with agony. Not with ease, but with endurance. The truth about success, the real truth, is that it's quiet, it's lonely, and it demands everything you are before it gives anything back. You want to succeed? Then get used to being misunderstood. Get used to people thinking you're obsessed, crazy, arrogant, delusional. So was Steve Jobs. So was Elon Musk. So was every visionary who refused to fit into the world because they were too busy reshaping it. You must walk roads that others are too afraid to map. You must make sacrifices that others are too soft to stomach. And you must endure ridicule from those who would rather mock than move. That's the cost. But hear me, the price you pay for greatness will never be greater than the pain of staying average. The world will not hand you power. It never has. It only responds to those who claim it. And claiming it means suffering through uncertainty. Building when the blueprint is blurry. Trusting when you have no evidence. Faith, that's your currency. Not the kind of faith that sits still, but the kind that builds the bridge while walking across it. You want the truth? Success doesn't start with belief in yourself. That comes later. It starts with belief in the mission. Your why. Your purpose. That thing that makes you cry when no one is watching, that stirs your gut when you hear someone else talk about their dream, that's the spark. That is where your power begins. Because when your why is strong enough, your how becomes irrelevant. When the mission is loud enough, the voices of fear and doubt get drowned in the roar of commitment. Warren Buffett said, "Chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken." Think about that. Every lazy decision, every excuse, every time you said, "I'll do it tomorrow," it becomes a chain. Not one heavy link, but thousands of tiny ones. Until one day, you wake up in a cage you built with your own comfort. Break it. Break it today. Success requires uncomfortable decisions. It requires saying no when it would be easier to say yes. It means giving up what is good for what is great. You want to change your life? Change your standards. Because your life is a reflection of what you've been willing to tolerate. No one climbs a mountain by accident. You don't stumble into discipline. You don't trip and land on purpose. You decide. You say, enough, enough with the distractions. Enough with the drama. Enough with playing small so others can feel big. You weren't born to be tolerated, you were born to lead. And leaders don't follow feelings, they forge direction. They choose clarity over comfort. They choose legacy over likes. They choose vision over validation. This isn't about hustle porn or 18-hour days. This is about aligning your soul with something worth waking up for. That kind of clarity doesn't come from scrolling social media. It comes from solitude, from listening to your inner voice until it's louder than the outer world. Every successful person you admire, they didn't just work hard. They worked hard with direction. Purpose is the fuel, but discipline is the steering wheel. And when you combine both, you become unstoppable. But still, you will fall, and that's part of it. You will fail, and that's essential. Because success is not found in the absence of failure, it is born from the womb of it. Every failure is feedback. Every fall, a furnace. Every misstep, a mirror. Henry Ford said, "Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time, more intelligently." So when you fail, and you will do not ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What now?" Do not crumble, construct. Do not retreat, refocus. The difference between winners and quitters isn't talent. It's response. Most people fail once and build a personality around it. They wear it like armor. I'm not good at business. I'm not a people person. I'm too old. I'm too young. Number. You're just rehearsing defeat. Stop rehearsing the pain. Start rehearsing the power. You are not your failures. You are not your missed chances. You are the person who survived all of it. And that means something. It means you're still in the ring. It means you've still got breath in your lungs, fire in your chest, and time left on the clock. Don't waste it. Stop waiting for motivation. Start creating movement. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. Do the work, and the feeling will follow. And when the world goes quiet, when no one is cheering, when the path is dark and the road is steep, that's when it's your turn. Your turn to show yourself what you're made of. To rise, not because it's easy, but because you refuse to live a life of regret. Because deep down, you know, comfort is the enemy, and average is a prison you build with soft choices. So choose boldly, speak deliberately, walk with fire. And when they ask you why you keep pushing, why you won't settle, why you won't slow down, look them in the eye and say, "Because I was not born to blend in. I was born to build. I was born to lead. I was born to rise. And if you must go through hell to do it, then light a match, smile through the smoke, and keep walking. Because this is the truth about success. It doesn't come to the lucky. It comes to the relentless." And right now, the world isn't asking for more influencers. It's asking for more warriors, more builders, more souls who have been through the fire and came out with light in their eyes and a story that sets others free. Be that story. Be that story. Not the one that got by. Not the one that settled. Be the one that defied expectation, the one that spit in the face of limitation and said, "Watch me." You don't need everyone to believe in you. You just need one person, you, and not the version of you that's been shaped by fear. Not the version that waits for permission, but the version that lives in your vision. The version that wakes up with fire in their lungs and steel in their spine. The version that doesn't just survive the day they own it. That version is in you, not in some far-off future. Not after 5 books or 3 degrees. Right now. Beneath the self-doubt, beneath the hesitation, beneath the conditioning that told you to stay small. You are already enough if you're willing to become more. You were not given this life to merely exist in the background of someone else's story. You are here to lead, to build, to create, and to conquer. But conquest doesn't start outside. It starts within. Until you learn to command yourself, you will always be a slave to the world. So command your thoughts. Command your focus. Command your energy. Direct it like a laser. Do not scatter it like dust. Focus is the blade, and clarity is the sharpening stone. You must know what you want. But even more, you must know why. If your why is tied to ego, you will burn out. If it's tied to envy, you will be miserable. But if it's tied to impact, to legacy, to something that matters beyond you, then you will move mountains. Because pain is powerless in the presence of purpose. The storms will come. They always do. But the one who knows their why builds a boat while others drown in doubt. Think of Nelson Mandela, imprisoned for 27 years. Not broken, not bitter. When he emerged, he said, "As I walked out the door toward the gate that would lead to my freedom, I knew if I didn't leave my bitterness and hatred behind, I'd still be in prison." That is success. That is power. Not money, not status, but freedom. Freedom from fear. Freedom from bitterness. Freedom from the opinions of small minds and the limits of smaller dreams. And that freedom is earned, not by fighting the world, but by mastering yourself. And mastery is not a moment. It is a lifestyle. It is choosing to rise again and again when life tries to pull you under. It is learning from every loss, extracting the gold from every setback. It is loving the climb, even when your legs shake. Because success does not respond to who you are when it's easy. It answers to who you are when it's hard. When the door slams shut, when the investor says no, when your own family doesn't believe, that's when it asks you, do you really want this? And in that moment, you must answer with action, not tears, not complaints, not retreats. Action. Move when it hurts. Speak when you're scared. Lead when no one follows. Because true leaders don't wait for followers, they walk the path until others see the way. And eventually they do. But you don't do it for them. You do it because it's who you are. Because quitting is not in your bloodline. Because mediocrity chokes you more than fear. Because you'd rather die on your feet than live on your knees. This is not about being the best in the world. This is about being the best for the world. And the world does not need more noise. It needs more impact, more integrity, more warriors with humble hearts and iron wills. That can be you if you're willing to burn the version of yourself that just wanted to get by. Let it go. The laziness, the blame, the old identity built on doubt and delay. Let it all burn. And from those ashes, build a new name. One that means something. One that echoes long after you're gone. Because your name is not just a label, it is a legacy. And every day you write it. With your thoughts, with your choices, with your actions, when no one is watching. So write something worth remembering. Write like your grandchildren will read it. Like your past self is begging for it. Like your future self is waiting for it. Do not settle. Do not shrink. Do not apologize for dreaming too big. Apologize for every day you let pass without taking a step. Every second you waste is a second your potential weeps. So dry those tears with purpose. Stand tall. And say not with words, but with the ferocity of your being, I am done waiting. I am done watching. I am done doubting. I build. I lead. I rise. Because this isn't just about success. This is about awakening. And once you're awake, you never go back to sleep. And now that you're awake, you can finally see the truth. The truth that success was never outside of you. It wasn't hidden in books you never read, podcasts you never listened to, mentors you never had. It wasn't locked behind privilege or status or some mystical luck that only kissed the chosen few. It was buried. Buried beneath excuses. Buried beneath comfort. Buried beneath everything you were told to believe about yourself. That you were too broken, too late, too flawed, too far behind. Lies. Every last one of them. The real enemy was never your past. It was never your boss. Never your parents. Never the government. The enemy was the voice in your head that said, not you, not now, not enough. But that voice has met its end because you've tasted something deeper than motivation. You've awakened to purpose. You've ignited the match of belief. And once that fire starts, you can't go back to pretending you're powerless. You can't unsee your potential. You can't unhear the call. This is where most people quit. Right here, at the door, when the storm howls the loudest and the pressure reaches its peak. But not you. Not now. You've come too far to bow. You've seen too much to stop. This is where you get dangerous, because you now understand. Success doesn't care about your feelings. It cares about your follow-through. It honors the ones who show up broken but unbowed, shaking but stepping, scared but moving, uncertain but faithful. That's you. You are not the kind who waits to feel ready. You are not the kind who waits for approval. You are not the kind who needs a round of applause to keep walking. You are the storm. And now you bring the thunder. Every day is a chance to sharpen your weapon, to speak with power, to act with clarity, to walk with a spine made of purpose and a heart wrapped in fire. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to know all the steps. You just need to move. And when you fall, because you will fall with forward momentum, fall like a comet crashing into the earth, shaking everything around you awake, and then rise again, smarter, faster, fiercer, because resilience isn't what keeps you from falling. It's what makes you unstoppable after you do. Thomas Edison once said, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." So don't you dare give up. Don't you dare let a bad week convince you of a bad life. Don't you dare let temporary pain rewrite your permanent destiny. Everything you've been through, the heartbreak, the setbacks, the failures, the nights you cried alone, they weren't endings. They were preparation. The breaking was for the building. The pain was for the purification. The delay was for the development. Because life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you earn. And now you are earning it. With every sacrifice, every step, every moment you rise when the weaker version of you would have stayed down, you are earning it. And one day soon, when the fog lifts and the fruit finally ripens, the world will call you lucky. They'll call you gifted. They'll call you chosen. But you'll know the truth. You'll know that what they call luck was hours alone, was nights in silence, was mornings where you rose before the sun and dared to believe before anyone else could see. You'll know that what they call talent was discipline, was rejection after rejection met with thank you and next, was showing up when everything in your body said no, but your soul said go. You'll know that what they call overnight success was 1,000 invisible battles, 1,000 invisible days, 1,000 invisible decisions no one saw but you. And when that day comes, when your vision stands tall and undeniable, when the people who doubted you now stand in your shadow, you will not scream, "I told you so." Number. You'll stand silent, not out of spite, but out of knowing. Knowing that the truth about success, the truth no one wants to hear, is that it was never about the spotlight. It was about the becoming. And you became the kind of person who refused to quit, who refused to shrink, who refused to die with the music still inside. You lived loud. You loved deep. You built something that will echo beyond your name. And in the end, that is success. Not what you have, but who you dared to become. So now, the match is in your hands. The path is yours to carve. The fire has been lit. Now go and set the world ablaze.